as I did some years ago when I was vacationing on the Oregon coast and I had to buy wine to bring home for dinner. And there were 5 different bottles of wine from which I could choose. And I brought one back, and it wasn't very good, and everyone agreed that it wasn't very good. And the question was, whose fault is it? And the answer was clear. It was the world's fault. The world had only given me 5 options, and they were kind of mediocre. Well, you go into a liquor store that offers 20,000 different bottles of wine from which to choose, and you choose one, and you bring it home. And again, objectively, it's surely better than any of the ones that I had available to me on the Oregon coast, but it isn't as good as people had hoped. And so, once again, the result is disappointing, and you ask the question, whose fault is it? And now the answer, it seems to me, is just as clear and inescapable. The fault is yours. There is no excuse for failure in a world in which the choices are essentially infinite. There is no excuse for anything less than perfection in a world in which the choices are essentially infinite. When we experience failure, relative failure, and we ask the whose fault is it question, we come up with the answer, the fault is ours. And this, I think, is the causal link between the profusion of choices we now face and the increase in clinical depression. The paradox in all of this, almost done, I hope, is that what really produces flourishing, what really makes people happy, what really produces satisfaction, is close relations to other people. That's the single most important determinant of well-being that anyone has identified in 40 years of research on the determinants of well-being. And the thing to notice about close relations with other people is that they constrain, they don't liberate. What it means to be close to someone is that you are not free to make all of these choices for yourself. You have to consider the needs, interests, and desires of the others. And so your choice set is limited by the fact that you care about other people and other people care about you. Now, I used to think that being in a network of close relations to other people was so beneficial and so valuable that having choices constrained was simply a price worth paying because what was good about it was so good. I now think that in the modern world, it isn't a price at all. In the modern world, in the world that we live in affluent societies like this one, anything that constrains choices is itself a benefit. One of the benefits of being involved with other people in an intimate way is that it limits your possibilities. And we are now desperate for things in society that will limit our possibilities. Why are people getting married? Well, you don't need to know that. See, this is what you're missing. If Grant had